In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where countless civilizations had risen and fallen, a shared myth echoed among the stars, a legend of a species so audacious, so resilient, that they had defied the very fabric of the universe. They called themselves humans, but to most of the galactic community, they were nothing more than a myth, a cautionary tale told to younglings about the perils of hubris. It was said that humans had once roamed their lush green planet, weaving intricate stories and crafting marvelous technologies, only to vanish into the cosmic void, leaving behind whispers of their greatness. Commander Zarek of the Centauri Exploration Fleet stood on the bridge of her ship, the Star Weaver, gazing out at the swirling cosmos, her antenna twitching with anticipation. As a member of a proud and advanced race, Zarek had always been skeptical of the tales spun around campfires among her people, yet there was an undeniable allure to the story of humanity that tugged at her curiosity. Was it true that this species, known for its creativity and ambition, had been capable of such grand achievements, or were they merely a figment of imagination, a myth born from the fear of the unknown? The bridge hummed with activity as her crew carried out their duties, but Zarek could sense the excitement simmering beneath the surface. They were on the brink of a discovery that could reshape their understanding of the galaxy. After centuries of searching, they had finally intercepted a faint transmission believed to be originating from a planet long thought to be humanity's home, Earth. The signal, a complex pattern of energy, flickered on the screens, sparking debates among the crew. "Status report," Zarek commanded, her multifaceted eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. Her second in command, a towering Andromedan named Crix, responded with his characteristic low rumble. "Commander, the signal appears to be emanating from a Class M planet. The atmospheric composition is oxygen-nitrogen-based, consistent with the descriptions of Earth from ancient texts." Zarek nodded, her heart racing at the implications of their discovery. It was more than just a potential lead. It was the chance to uncover the truth behind a legend that had captivated the galaxy for eons. But there was a weight to this endeavor. "What about life signs?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, a flicker of doubt crossing her mind. Crix hesitated, his tentacles wavering slightly. "Inconclusive, Commander. We are detecting sporadic energy signatures, but no clear indication of an active civilization." The silence that followed felt heavy, as if the universe itself held its breath. Curiosity warred with caution within Zarek. What if they discovered a barren world, devoid of life and memories? Yet, the potential of finding remnants of humanity, their achievements, their failures, and perhaps even their descendants, drove her forward. "Prepare a landing party. We'll investigate personally," she ordered, her voice resolute. The thrill of exploration coursed through her veins. As the Star Weaver descended through Earth's atmosphere, the crew couldn't help but feel a sense of awe wash over them. They were approaching the cradle of a species that had supposedly reshaped galaxies and challenged gods, but as they broke through the cloud cover, they were met with a sight that sent shockwaves through the entire crew. The planet was a wasteland. Vast cities lay in ruins, their once mighty skyscrapers now twisted metal and crumbling concrete. Forests had reclaimed much of the land, nature asserting its dominance over the remnants of human civilization. The sight was both beautiful and tragic, a stark reminder of the fragility of existence. Zarek felt a chill run through her carapace as she surveyed the desolation. This can't be all that remains," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the ship's engines. There had to be more. A story hidden beneath the rubble, waiting to be unearthed. Suddenly, something caught her eye. Amidst the decay, there stood a massive statue, weathered by time, but still defiantly reaching towards the sky. It depicted a human figure with outstretched arms, a symbol of hope that pierced through the shadows. "Land near that structure," Zarek instructed, her voice filled with newfound determination. As they touched down, the landing party emerged cautiously, weapons at the ready. The air was breathable, but carried the musty scent of decay. They approached the statue, and Zarek felt a strange connection to the figure before her. It was as if the spirit of humanity still lingered here, whispering stories of perseverance and courage. Crix approached the base of the statue, his sensors scanning the strange symbols etched into the metal. "Commander, I believe this is some form of human language. Our translators are attempting to decipher it," he reported, his voice low with excitement. The anticipation in the air was palpable as they awaited the translation. Moments later, the translation flickered to life on their visors. "In memory of those who ventured forth and those who stayed behind, may humanity's spirit never waver." Zarek felt a rush of emotions, a deep respect for the species that had faced insurmountable odds, yet left behind a legacy of hope. But where were the humans now? As if in answer to her question, a low rumble shook the ground. The team froze, weapons raised, as from beneath the overgrown ruins, a massive door began to open, revealing a dark passageway that seemed to lead deep underground. "By the cosmic winds," Crix breathed, "it's some kind of bunker." Zarek made a quick decision. "We're going in. Stay alert and remember, if there are humans down there, we're dealing with a species of legend. Be prepared for anything." As they descended into the darkness, their lights illuminated a vast underground complex, the air growing colder, the distant hum of machinery echoing through the corridors. Everything was pristine, a stark contrast to the ruined world above. They entered a large chamber, and suddenly lights began to flicker on around them, revealing rows upon rows of strange cylindrical pods lining the walls. Each pod contained what appeared to be a sleeping human. Zarek's mind raced as she realized the implications of their find. They had not just uncovered remnants of a lost civilization. They had stumbled upon humanity's final safeguard. The Starweaver cruised through the endless void of space, a silent sentinel gliding toward the cradle of the most enigmatic species in the galaxy, humans. Commander Zarek stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak by like frozen rivers of light. Anticipation crackled among the crew, creating a palpable energy. For Zarek, this mission was more than just a routine exploration. It was a journey into the heart of myth. If humans were real, if their fabled existence held even a kernel of truth, it would change everything. The crew of the Starweaver was an eclectic mix, each member bringing unique skills. Beside Zarek stood Crix, her stoic second-in-command, his large frame and steady presence grounding the rest of the crew. His pragmatic nature often balanced Zarek's curiosity, but even Crix could not hide his intrigue at the thought of unearthing humanity. In the quieter moments of their journey, he had confessed his own fascination with the myths. They were stories passed between species, like folklore that refused to die. "Hard to believe we're chasing ghosts," Crix muttered, his voice a low rumble, tentacles flicking with unease. "They may be ghosts," Zarek replied, "or they may be something more." The journey itself was long but uneventful. The crew floated through the black tapestry of the galaxy, each occupied with their own thoughts. Conversations on the bridge were tinged with a mix of skepticism and hope. Some of the younger officers doubted the humans ever existed. Others whispered about the terrifying tales, how humans were supposed to have been warriors without equal, with a stubbornness unmatched even by the fiercest alien species. The Starweaver drifted closer to its destination. They passed barren systems, derelict space stations and planetary ruins, remnants of civilizations that had risen and collapsed without ever uncovering the truth of Earth. Each discovery along the way heightened the significance of their mission. If humanity had vanished, they left no allies behind, just traces, as fleeting as stardust. Finally, The day came when Earth loomed in the distance. At first it appeared as a blue dot against the expanse of space, like an ancient gemstone hidden among cosmic debris. The crew gathered at the observation deck, captivated by the sight of it growing larger with every passing hour. As they closed the distance, the features of the planet became clearer. The sprawling oceans, the once thriving continents now shadowed with decay, and clouds swirling in turbulent patterns. For a moment, the bridge was silent, as if the entire crew held their breath in reverence. Earth, the mythical homeworld, a place that no one had believed they would find, and now it was just within reach. Zarek allowed herself a moment of awe, her antennae flicking forward as if trying to sense the history buried beneath the planet's surface. "Status, Crix?" Zarek asked, breaking the silence. Crix checked the monitors, his massive hands moving over the controls with precision. "Atmosphere within expected parameters. Oxygen-nitrogen mix. The surface shows signs of heavy erosion. No confirmed life signs, but there are strange energy readings scattered across the planet. They appear to be dormant, some kind of ancient technology perhaps." The ship glided into the upper atmosphere, and turbulence rocked the hull as they began their descent. Zarek gripped the railing, a tight smile playing at the edges of her lips. This was it, the moment when myth would meet reality. "Steady," she commanded, though her own heart raced with anticipation. As they pierced through thick layers of clouds, the landscape below came into full view. What they saw sent ripples of surprise through the crew. Earth, though battered and broken, still breathed. Forests had reclaimed once mighty cities, the ruins of humanity swallowed by creeping vines and towering trees. Lakes and rivers sparkled in the afternoon light, reflecting skies that seemed untouched by pollution or war. "There was life here," Zarek whispered, her voice filled with awe. "A civilization that thrived, it's beautiful and tragic all at once." They passed over sprawling ruins, monuments to a long-gone era. Twisted metal skeletons of buildings stretched toward the sky like the bones of ancient beasts. Roads were cracked and overgrown, and bridges that had once spanned mighty rivers now lay in pieces, shattered by time. Yet the landscape was not entirely dead. Pockets of vibrant green forests burst through the desolation, hinting at nature's slow reclamation of the land. The Starweaver's sensors locked onto a location near the heart of one of these overgrown cities. A structure stood intact, its geometric design strangely alluring against the backdrop of decay. It looked like a control station, or perhaps a museum, a relic of human ingenuity preserved by chance or purpose. Zarek pointed at the display. "There, set us down by that structure." The ship's engines roared to life, guiding them gently toward the ground. As they touched down, the landing gear hissed and settled into place. A nervous excitement buzzed among the crew as they prepared to disembark. They were stepping onto the soil of legends. The landing ramp extended and Zarek led the way, her boots making the first imprints in centuries on the soil of Earth. The air was thick with the scent of damp moss and old stone, a scent that carried the weight of forgotten stories. The team spread out cautiously, scanning the area for signs of activity. "It's quiet," one crew member whispered, glancing around nervously. "Too quiet," Crix added, his eyes scanning the treetops as if expecting ghosts to emerge from the shadows. The group approached the structure. Its surface was smooth, but scarred by time, covered in moss and cracked in places where the elements had taken their toll. At the entrance, they found symbols, patterns that looked too deliberate to be natural. Crix ran his fingers over the etchings, and the sensors in his gloves began decoding the symbols. "It's a map," Crix murmured, his voice laced with surprise. "And a message." Zarek stepped closer, intrigued. "What does it say?" Crix's visor flickered as the translation completed. "It's a warning. he said gravely. Those who enter must be prepared for what lies within. Knowledge is the gift and burden of humanity. Zarek exchanged a glance with Crix. The weight of those words settled heavily on them both. Whatever the humans had left behind, it was not just relics of the past. It was something deeper, something that might change the future of the galaxy. "Open it," Zarek ordered. Crix worked swiftly, and with a soft hum, the entrance to the structure creaked open. Cool air rushed out, carrying the scent of old machinery. They stepped inside, their lights illuminating the corridor ahead. The walls were lined with strange machines, their purpose unclear, though they pulsed faintly with dormant energy. They ventured deeper, and the air grew colder. At the heart of the structure, they found something extraordinary. A chamber filled with glowing pods, each containing what appeared to be a sleeping human. "By the stars," Zarek whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "They're still alive." Crix stepped forward, inspecting the pods. "They're in stasis," he confirmed, "preserved, waiting for something." The crew stood in stunned silence, absorbing the enormity of their discovery. Humanity was not extinct. They were merely sleeping, waiting for a time when the stars would align once more in their favor. Zarek's mind raced with possibilities. The humans weren't just a myth. They were real, and they were right here, beneath the surface of their ruined world. A new chapter in the galaxy's history was about to begin, and Zarek was determined to be part of it. "Prepare the pods for activation," she ordered, her voice steady with purpose. "It's time to wake the myth." The chamber was silent except for the hum of ancient machinery that kept the stasis pods alive. Commander Zarek and her crew stood in awe, gazing at the dozens, perhaps hundreds of humans suspended in time. The soft glow emanating from the pods cast eerie shadows on the walls, giving the room a ghostly appearance. It was a surreal moment. What had once been dismissed as a legend was now tangible, sleeping before their very eyes. Crix knelt beside one of the pods, his tentacles running over the control panel with a mixture of curiosity and caution. These humans have been asleep for centuries. Their biological signs are stable, but the technology, it's unlike anything we've encountered. Zarek's mind raced. If these humans could be awakened, they might provide answers to questions that had haunted the galaxy for millennia. Why had they vanished? What was the purpose of this stasis? Most importantly, what did it mean for the galaxy now that they were about to return? "Can you wake one?" Zarek asked, her voice filled with both excitement and uncertainty. Crix hesitated. "It's possible, but the process could be risky. We don't know how they'll react, mentally or physically. They've been disconnected from time for too long." Zarek knew the risk, but the opportunity was too great to ignore. If they could bring even one human back, it could change everything. "Do it," she ordered, her gaze steady. "We need to know what we're dealing with." Crix's tentacles danced over the control panel, initiating the revival process. The pod hissed as vapor escaped from the seals, and the dim glow inside began to brighten. The figure within shifted slightly, their eyelids fluttering. Slowly the glass cover of the pod lifted, releasing a gust of cool air that smelled of sterile metal and old memories. The first human to awaken was a woman. Her skin was pale from centuries without sunlight, and her short dark hair clung to her damp forehead. She blinked rapidly, trying to adjust to the light and the unfamiliar surroundings. Zarek stepped forward cautiously, her antennae twitching as she studied the human. "Can you understand me?" she asked, her voice gentle but filled with authority. The woman's gaze drifted over Zarek's alien features, the multifaceted eyes, the segmented armor-like exoskeleton, before she gave a slight nod. I think so," she whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. Crix tilted his head. "Remarkable. Her cognitive functions seem intact." The woman struggled to sit up, her limbs sluggish from centuries of stasis. "Where? Where am I?" she rasped. "You are on Earth," Zarek answered, stepping closer but maintaining a respectful distance. "We are explorers. We found your world abandoned and discovered you here, preserved in stasis. Can you tell us your name?" The woman blinked as if trying to summon memories from the depths of her mind. "Maya, Doctor. Maya Torres," she finally managed. "I'm a scientist." Crix and the other crew members exchanged glances, their excitement barely contained. They had not only revived a human, but a scientist, someone who might hold the key to understanding humanity's disappearance. Zarek knelt beside her, offering a hand to help her steady herself. "Dr. Torres, do you know why you were put into stasis? What happened to your civilization?" Maya's expression darkened as fragments of memories began to resurface. "It was a crisis, a cosmic event. We called it the Void Storm." Her voice faltered as she tried to piece together the details. "It was tearing our world apart, tearing everything apart. We couldn't stop it, so we made a plan. We put the best of us into stasis, hoping that one day the storm would pass." Zarek's antennae flicked forward with interest. "The Void Storm," she repeated, the term unfamiliar but ominous. "What kind of event was it? A natural disaster? A weapon?" Maya shook her head, frustration flickering in her tired eyes. "I don't know. It felt like both. Something we couldn't fully understand. It was collapsing time and space itself. We had no choice but to hide, until someone could wake us." Crix leaned closer. "That someone is us." Maya's eyes widened as she fully absorbed the situation. "You're not human. Are there others? Are there more of my people awake?" Zarek shook her head. "Not yet. We wanted to wake you first, to learn more. There are many others still in stasis, but we need to ensure the revival process is safe." Maya exhaled slowly, the weight of centuries pressing down on her. "I can help," she said, determination flickering in her voice. "If you let me, I can help wake them." Zarek studied her carefully. Despite the exhaustion evident in Maya's eyes, there was a spark, an indomitable spirit that resonated with the stories she had heard about humanity. "We will do this together," Zarek promised. "But there's something you need to know. While you've been asleep, the galaxy has changed. Your people became a myth." Maya frowned, trying to process the implications of Zarek's words. "A myth?" "Yes," Crix confirmed. "Most believed humanity was a cautionary tale, heroes or villains, depending on the story. But we found you, and now the myth becomes reality." Maya's lips curved into a tired but defiant smile. "Then it's time to rewrite the story." Zarek admired her resilience. "Indeed, but we must tread carefully. There are others in the galaxy who may not welcome your return. They fear what they don't understand." Maya raised an eyebrow. "And you? Do you fear us?" Zarek's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "I don't fear legends, Dr. Torres. I seek to understand them." They spent the next few hours navigating the revival process, with Maya assisting the crew in deciphering the ancient technology. She moved with surprising agility for someone who had been asleep for centuries. Her scientific curiosity reignited as she examined the stasis pods and reviewed the dormant systems. "This technology is beyond anything we had at the time," Maya muttered half to herself. "It's as if someone or something helped us build it." Crix's tentacles twitched. "Do you mean an external force?" "I don't know," Maya admitted, "but the designs are too advanced to be purely human. There are layers to this technology, encrypted protocols that even I don't recognize." The discovery unsettled Zarek. If humanity had received help from an unknown source, it could complicate their situation. Who or what had guided the humans? And were they still out there watching? Before Zarek could voice her concerns, the chamber lights flickered and a low hum resonated through the walls. Maya's eyes widened. Something's waking up. Crix checked the readings on his console. The facility is activating additional systems. We may have triggered a chain reaction. Zarek tensed. Prepare for anything. With a hiss, another stasis pod began to open. The figure inside stirred, and Zarek's heart quickened. More humans were about to awaken, and with them, the secrets of the past would come to light. The journey was just beginning. The legend of humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the second stasis pod hissed open, the tension in the chamber grew thick. Zarek, Crix, and the rest of the crew stood still, waiting to see who or what would emerge next. The human inside was a man, his body twitching slightly as he adjusted to life outside of stasis. His eyes opened slowly, revealing hazel irises that flicked around the room in confusion. He coughed, sitting up, and blinked as he spotted Zarek's alien form standing over him. "What?" His voice was groggy and he clutched his head. "What year is it? Where am I?" "You are on Earth," Zarek answered calmly. "We've reawakened you from stasis. We need your help." He looked between Zarek and Maya, still struggling to process his surroundings. "Earth?" He turned to Maya, recognition dawning. "Doctor? Torres? What's going on?" Maya smiled, a warmth in her expression. "You made it, Doctor." "Connor Blake. I can't believe it's really you." Blake rubbed his face, still disoriented. "Last I remember, everything was going to hell. I didn't think we'd survive. What happened? How long have we been under?" "Long enough that our world is gone," Maya replied gently. "The storm passed, but the galaxy moved on without us." Blake shook his head, trying to gather his thoughts. "What about the others? Are they—" "They're all still here, sleeping," Maya assured him. "We're going to wake them, but first we need answers about the storm, about what happened before we went under." Blake sat up straighter, glancing at Zarek and the other aliens with wariness. "And who are they?" Zarek stepped forward, antennae twitching. "We are explorers from beyond your system. Your people became a myth, a story passed down through generations. Many believed you were nothing more than a legend, but we found you, and now we need to know the truth about your disappearance." Blake exhaled, rubbing his temples. The void storm. It wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was something else, something alive, or at least controlled by an intelligence we didn't understand. Maya frowned. "Alive? What do you mean?" Blake glanced between Maya and Zarek, his voice dropping into a serious tone. "We always thought the storm was random, a cosmic accident, but it wasn't. It behaved like a predator, seeking out planets, ships, entire fleets. It was deliberate. We tried to fight it, but every attempt failed. That's when we built the stasis chambers, our last hope to outlast the storm." Crix's tentacles twitched uneasily. "You mean to say that this storm was sentient?" "Or controlled," Blake clarified. "We had theories, but no proof. There were whispers about something bigger, something behind the storm, watching us." Zarek exchanged a look with Crix. If what Blake said was true, then humanity's disappearance was not just a tragedy, but the result of a deliberate cosmic act. Someone, or something, had intended to wipe them out, or at the very least, put them to sleep indefinitely. Maya leaned closer to Blake. "Do you think it's still out there?" "I don't know," Blake admitted, "but if it is, we're going to need more than just what we had before. We'll need allies." His gaze shifted back to Zarek, suspicion lingering. "You seem to know a lot about us. What do you want from humanity?" Zarek met his gaze evenly. "We came seeking answers. What we've found is more than we could have imagined. Your return could change everything. but there are others in the galaxy who may not welcome you back." Maya tilted her head. "Why not?" Crix answered grimly. "Because legends are powerful. Your existence disrupts the status quo. There are those who fear what they don't understand, and those who will see your return as a threat to their power." Blake processed this for a moment, then gave a dry chuckle. "So, we wake up, and we're already causing trouble. Sounds about right." Zarek allowed herself a small smile. "It seems the stories about humanity's boldness were not exaggerated." Maya touched Blake's arm gently. "We need to wake more of our people. If we're going to survive in this new galaxy, we need everyone. Scientists, engineers, strategists, and we need to understand the full extent of what we're up against." Blake nodded. "I'm with you. Let's wake them." With that decision made, Zarek, Crix, Maya, and Blake worked together to activate more stasis pods. One by one, humans awoke from their centuries-long sleep, each of them disoriented at first, but gradually regaining their composure. Engineers, soldiers, and doctors, all handpicked before the collapse, began to gather, piecing together fragments of the past. There was confusion, sadness, and even anger, but above all, there was a spark of hope. As the chamber filled with awakened humans, Zarek observed them closely. Despite the circumstances, they adapted quickly, just as the legends had foretold. They weren't overwhelmed by fear or despair. Instead, they asked questions, formulated plans, and leaned on each other for strength. It was an instinct she had never seen in any other species, a refusal to surrender no matter the odds. Just as the group was settling into a rhythm, the chamber's lights flickered, and an alert echoed through the facility. Crix's sensors beeped rapidly as he checked his console. "Commander, we have a problem." "What is it?" Zarek asked, her antennae twitching with tension. "There's an unidentified ship approaching Earth," Crix reported. "It's not one of ours." Maya's heart raced. "Could it be the storm?" Crix shook his head. "Number, but whoever they are, they're coming in fast." Zarek turned to Maya and Blake. "This could be the beginning of something much larger. We need to be ready." Maya clenched her fists. "We've faced extinction before. We'll face this too." The humans quickly mobilized, working with Zarek's crew to prepare the facility's defenses. The dormant technology within the structure responded to their commands, humming to life as if waiting for the moment to be used once more. Zarek couldn't help but marvel at their efficiency. These humans were more than just survivors. They were builders, thinkers, and warriors. Blake stood beside her, arms crossed. "Looks like we're about to make our grand re-entry into the galaxy." Zarek nodded, her gaze fixed on the sky beyond the chamber walls. "Indeed, and I suspect the galaxy isn't ready for what's coming." As the facility buzzed with activity, a sense of unity settled over the group. Humans and aliens working side by side, preparing for the unknown together. It was a glimpse of what could be, a future shaped not by fear, but by cooperation and trust. But Zarek knew that their challenges were just beginning. The unknown ship was a harbinger of things to come, and whatever lay ahead would test them all. With a final glance at the humans, Zarek allowed herself a brief moment of hope. The legends were real. Humanity was awake, and the galaxy was about to witness the return of a species unlike any other. "Let them come," Zarek whispered. "We are ready." The chamber hummed with anticipation, the tension rising as Zarek and her crew monitored the unidentified ship's approach. Its trajectory was unmistakable. It was heading straight for Earth. Every screen in the facility displayed the craft's movements, sparking a mixture of excitement and unease among the newly awakened humans. For centuries they had prepared for the unknown, and now the unknown was finally here. Maya paced the control room, her thoughts racing. "We need to be ready for anything. If it's hostile, we can't afford to be caught off guard." Zarek stood beside her, calm but alert. "My crew is ready, and the facility's defenses are operational. If it's a threat, we will handle it." Blake leaned over one of the consoles, studying the readings. "I don't recognize the design of this ship. It's not human. And it's not part of your fleet either, is it?" he asked, glancing toward Crix. "No," Crix replied. His tentacles twitched anxiously. "Its technology is advanced, different from anything we've encountered before." Maya frowned. "Do you think they know who we are? Could they have detected the stasis chamber activation?" Zarek tilted her head thoughtfully. "It's possible. If the myths about humans spread throughout the galaxy, it's only logical that other civilizations would monitor Earth. But whether they come in peace or with ill intent remains to be seen." As the ship drew closer, the tension in the control room mounted. Blake and Maya exchanged uneasy glances, bracing themselves for what might come. The humans gathered behind them, some clutching makeshift weapons, their instincts primed for survival. Then a signal crackled through the speakers, an incoming transmission from the alien vessel. It wasn't in any recognizable language, a strange melodic sequence that sounded more like music than speech. The translation algorithm struggled for a moment, then produced a broken version of the message. "Children of Earth, we come, in curiosity, seek not harm." Maya and Zarek exchanged a look of cautious relief. "Curiosity," Maya murmured. "That's better than hostility." "Still," Zarek said, her multifaceted eyes narrowing, "we should proceed carefully. Open a communication channel." The screen flickered, and the image of the alien craft appeared, a sleek, shimmering vessel with intricate patterns etched along its hull, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Moments later, a holographic figure materialized in the room. It was tall and slender, its body composed of translucent blue energy that shifted and pulsed like a living star. The figure bowed slightly. "Greetings, children of Earth. We are the Litherians. We have watched your world from afar, and now that you have awakened, we wish to extend our hand in peace." Maya stepped forward cautiously. "I'm Dr. Maya Torres. These are my people, recently awakened from stasis. We're adjusting to the new reality." The Litherian's form shimmered with what might have been approval. "You have returned after a long slumber, just as the stars foretold. The galaxy has changed much in your absence, but your presence, it is a beacon. There are many who will welcome you, and others who will not." Zarek studied the alien carefully. "And which are you, friend or foe?" "We are explorers like you," the Litherian replied smoothly. "We come in peace, seeking knowledge and allies. We have no quarrel with humanity. In fact, we offer a partnership. Together we can navigate the complexities of the galaxy and learn from each other." Blake crossed his arms. "And what do you want in return?" The Litherian's form pulsed briefly, like the ripple of a pond. "We seek to understand your people. The myths surrounding humanity have intrigued us for centuries. Your adaptability, your tenacity. We wish to learn from you, just as you may benefit from our knowledge." Maya glanced at Zarek, weighing their options. The offer seemed genuine, but it was also clear that the Litherians had their own agenda. Still, an alliance could offer much-needed support in a galaxy filled with unknown dangers. "We need allies," Maya admitted. "The galaxy has changed while we slept, and we're playing catch-up. If your intentions are true, we welcome your partnership." The Litherian inclined its head. "Then it is agreed. We will share our knowledge and help you find your place among the stars once more. But be warned, there are those who fear your return. The Zarath Dominion will not sit idly by." Zarek's antennae twitched. "The Zarath Dominion. We suspected they would take an interest. They see humanity's return as a disruption to their control," the Litherian explained. "They fear what you represent. change, evolution, a challenge to their dominance. Maya clenched her fists. We've faced extinction before. We're not about to back down now. The Letherian's form shimmered with what might have been admiration. Spoken like the humans of legend, we will assist you in preparing for what lies ahead. With that, the hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the humans and aliens in the control room to process the encounter. Zarek turned to Maya and Blake. It seems the galaxy is more dangerous than we thought, but at least we have our first ally. Maya nodded. And we'll need more. If the Zarath Dominion is already watching us, we don't have much time. Over the next few hours, the humans and Zarek's crew worked tirelessly to integrate the Letherian's technology with the ancient systems of the facility. The Letherians provided schematics and data that boosted the defensive capabilities of the stasis chamber, ensuring that it would be protected from any future threats. Blake, ever the skeptic, spent time examining the Letherian technology, making sure there were no hidden traps or malicious codes. "I don't trust anyone who says they come in peace," he muttered to Maya, "but for now, we need them." Maya agreed, though a part of her was cautiously optimistic. "It's strange, isn't it? We wake up from a nightmare, and the first thing we find is hope." Zarek overheard and offered a rare smile. "Hope is a powerful thing, Doctor Torres, and it seems your people are well acquainted with it." As they finished their preparations, the mood in the facility shifted. The humans, though disoriented and overwhelmed, were beginning to find their footing. They worked side by side with Zarek's crew, exchanging ideas and learning from one another. It was the beginning of something new, an alliance forged not just from necessity, but from mutual respect and shared curiosity. For the first time in centuries, the humans of Earth were awake. They were not alone, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Maya stood at the observation deck, watching the stars glitter against the dark canvas of space. Zarek joined her, and for a moment they stood in companionable silence. "Do you think we'll survive this?" Maya asked softly. Zarek glanced at her, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the distant stars. "You've survived extinction once. I think you'll manage." Maya smiled. "Then let's give them a reason to remember us, not just as a legend, but as a force to be reckoned with." Zarek's antennae flicked in agreement. "Agreed. Let them know. Humanity is back." The days following the Letherians' arrival were a whirlwind of activity. With their technology integrated into the stasis chamber's defenses, the humans and Zarek's crew felt a cautious sense of security. But the reprieve was short-lived. Tensions began to mount as the realization set in. If the Letherians knew of humanity's return, others likely did too, and not all would come bearing gifts and friendship. The facility buzzed with life, a mix of human ingenuity and alien collaboration. Maya, Blake and Zarek worked tirelessly to prepare their people for what lay ahead, but a sense of unease lingered in the air. They knew that the peace would not last. "Commander!" Crix called from the control console, his voice tight with concern. "We've picked up movement on the edge of the system. Multiple ships are inbound. Their signatures match those of the Zarath Dominion." Zarek's antennae twitched, her worst fears confirmed. The Zarath Dominion had arrived, and there would be no peaceful overtures from them. The Dominion was infamous throughout the galaxy for its ruthless expansion and oppressive rule. They saw humanity's return not as a curiosity, but as a direct threat to their dominion. Maya leaned over Crix's console, studying the readings. "How many ships?" "4, Crix answered grimly. "Armed to the teeth. They'll be in Earth's orbit in less than an hour." Blake cursed under his breath. "So much for easing back into the galaxy. Looks like we're diving headfirst into a fight." Zarek straightened, her expression hardening. "We've faced worse odds, but we need to act fast. Crix, Get everyone to their stations. Prepare the facility's defenses." Maya and Blake exchanged a determined glance. "We'll rally the humans," Maya said, her voice steady. "If the Zarath want a fight, they'll get one." As the alert spread through the facility, the humans sprang into action. Though many of them were still disoriented from their long sleep, they fell into old habits quickly. Engineers repaired damaged systems, soldiers armed themselves with salvaged weapons, and scientists worked to enhance the Letherians' technology. In the command center, Maya, Blake and Zarek strategized with the Letherians, mapping out the best course of action. The odds were not in their favor. The Zarath ships were heavily armed, and Earth's defenses, while functional, were far from optimal. But retreat was not an option. "We can't hold them off indefinitely," Maya admitted, her brow furrowed as she studied the tactical readouts. "But if we can lure them in close, we might have a chance to disable one or two of their ships." Zarek nodded thoughtfully. "Agreed. We need to draw them into the atmosphere, where their sensors will be less effective. If we can disrupt their communications, they'll be forced to rely on individual ship commanders. That will give us an edge." The Letherian ambassador, his form shimmering in the hologram, added, "Our technology can temporarily disable their targeting systems. It won't last long, but it may buy you the time you need." Blake grinned, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. "Sounds like a plan. We'll hit them fast and hard." The clock ticked down as the humans and their allies prepared for the inevitable. The Zarath fleet drew closer, their ships casting ominous shadows across Earth's surface. The air was thick with tension, but there was also a spark of hope, a belief that together they could stand against the coming storm. "Positions, everyone," Zarek ordered, her voice steady. "This is it. Hold the line." The command center fell silent as the first Zarath ship entered the atmosphere. It was a massive warship, bristling with weaponry, its engines roaring like an ancient beast. The remaining ships orbited above, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Maya stood at the window, watching as the warship descended. Her heart pounded in her chest, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Whatever happens," she whispered to herself, "we don't back down." The Zarath ship opened fire, and the battle began. The sky erupted with explosions as Earth's defense systems roared to life. Laser cannons fired from the facility's perimeter, streaking toward the enemy ship. The Zarath warship responded with a volley of plasma bolts, lighting up the sky with bursts of blue and green energy. Zarek's crew worked tirelessly at their stations, coordinating attacks and monitoring systems. The Letherians activated their jamming signals, disrupting the Zarath's targeting systems. For a moment, the tide seemed to turn in their favor. Maya and Blake fought side by side, rallying the humans to defend their home. They moved with the precision of seasoned soldiers, their instincts honed by years of training. Maya's mind raced with calculations, plotting out their next move, while Blake covered her, his aim steady and true. "We've got them!" Blake shouted as one of the Zarath ships faltered, its engines sputtering. "They're vulnerable." "Hit them with everything we've got," Maya ordered. The humans unleashed a coordinated barrage, targeting the weakened warship. Explosions rippled across its hull, and with a deafening roar, the ship began to fall. It crashed into the earth with a thunderous impact, sending shockwaves through the ground. A cheer erupted from the defenders, but the celebration was short-lived. The remaining Zarath ships retaliated, their plasma cannons tearing through the facility's defenses. Alarms blared as systems overloaded, and the command center shook with each hit. "We can't hold much longer," Crix warned, his voice strained. Zarek's mind raced. They needed a new plan, and they needed it fast. "We have to take out their command ship," she said. "It's the only way to break their coordination." Maya nodded. "We'll need to get close, too close." "I'll go," Zarek volunteered. "If I can board their ship, I might be able to disable it from within." Blake shook his head. "Not alone you won't. I'm coming with you." Maya grinned. "Make that two of us." Zarek hesitated for only a moment before nodding. Very well. Let's end this. The three of them boarded a small shuttle and blasted off toward the Zarath command ship. The atmosphere crackled with energy as they weaved through enemy fire, their shuttle dodging plasma bolts by the narrowest of margins. "Hold on tight!" Blake shouted as they approached the enemy ship. "This is going to be rough." The shuttle slammed into the side of the Zarath warship, the impact jarring them in their seats. Zarek and the others unstrapped themselves and stormed into the ship, weapons drawn. They moved swiftly through the corridors, dispatching any resistance they encountered. The Zarath were fierce, but they were unprepared for the humans' sheer determination. With every step, Zarek felt the tide turning in their favor. They reached the command center of the ship, where the Zarath captain stood, a hulking figure draped in armor. He snarled as they entered, his weapon raised. "You cannot stop us," he growled. "Humanity should have stayed buried." "Funny," Maya replied, aiming her blaster. "We were thinking the same about you." With a well-placed shot, Maya disabled the captain's weapon, and Zarek lunged forward, subduing him with a swift blow. Blake accessed the ship's control panel, overriding the systems and shutting down the ship's weapons. "It's done," Blake announced. "The ship is ours." As the command ship powered down, the remaining Zarath vessels retreated, their morale shattered. The humans and their allies had won the day. Back on Earth, cheers erupted as the Zarath ships disappeared from the skies. Zarek, Maya and Blake returned to the facility, greeted by their comrades with hugs and tears of relief. "We did it," Maya whispered, her heart swelling with pride. Zarek placed a hand on her shoulder, her antennae flicking with approval. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy knows you're awake now, and it's watching." Maya smiled, a fierce determination in her eyes. "Good. Let them watch." The battle was over, but the war was far from won. The humans were awake, and they were ready to fight for their place among the stars. Together, with their newfound allies, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, head on. The taste of victory was fleeting. Although the Zarath Dominion had retreated, Zarek knew they would return, and in greater numbers. Earth's defenders had bought themselves time, but the next encounter would be far more dangerous. In the aftermath of the skirmish, the command center buzzed with activity as humans and aliens worked side by side to prepare for the inevitable second wave. Maya Torres leaned against a console, rubbing her temples. The battle had been brutal, but the adrenaline was slowly fading, replaced by the cold weight of reality. "We hurt them," she muttered, "but not enough to keep them away." Zarek stood beside her, calm and focused. "They'll be back soon, and they'll be prepared for our tactics. We need to think ahead, stay one step ahead of them." Blake joined them, still wiping soot from his uniform. "Then we hit them where it hurts. We take the fight to them this time." Maya raised an eyebrow. "You're suggesting we launch a counterattack?" Blake grinned. "Why not? Better than sitting around waiting for them to come knocking again." Zarek considered his words. A counterattack was bold, risky even, but it was also their best chance to catch the Zarath off guard before they regrouped. "We'd need a fleet," Zarek said, "and coordination. The Letherians might be able to help." Maya nodded. "We can't do this alone. If we're going to survive in this galaxy, we need allies. The Letherians were just the first. There have to be others who oppose the Zarath Dominion." Blake slapped a hand on the console. "Then let's find them. Time to show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just wait to be attacked. We fight back." Zarek's antennae flicked with approval. "Very well. We launch an expedition, but we must be careful. The Zarath aren't the only threat out there." With the decision made, preparations began for a daring counter-offensive. The humans and their allies worked tirelessly, scouring the galaxy for potential allies and assembling a small but powerful fleet. Messages were sent across star systems, seeking out resistance movements, free colonies, and anyone willing to stand against the Dominion. Maya stood at the communication hub, overseeing the dispatch of messages. "The Zarath have ruled through fear," she told Zarek, "but fear only works if no one stands up to them. If we can rally others, we might just have a chance." Zarek inclined her head. "And if we fail?" Maya smiled grimly. "Then at least we'll go down swinging." Days passed as ships from distant corners of the galaxy responded to the call. Some were small freighters converted into makeshift warships. Others were sleek, advanced vessels bristling with weaponry. The sight of alien species working together with humans, engineers, soldiers, diplomats, filled the facility with cautious hope. Blake surveyed the growing fleet with satisfaction. "Look at that," he said, nudging Maya. "You think the Zarath will expect this?" "They won't know what hit them," Maya replied, her eyes gleaming with determination. Zarek, Maya and Blake boarded one of the lead ships, an agile vessel known as the Iron Fang. It was fast, armed to the teeth, and ready for battle. With Crix at the helm and the Litherian ambassador coordinating from the command deck, the fleet was ready to launch. "This is it," Zarek said to the assembled crew. "The Zarath Dominion believes they've already won. We're about to prove them wrong." The fleet slipped into faster-than-light travel, hurtling through the cosmos toward the Zarath's staging ground, a massive space station hidden in a nebula at the edge of Zarath-controlled space. It was a hub of activity, teeming with ships and soldiers, their defenses seemingly impenetrable. As they approached, Maya studied the holographic display of the enemy station. "We won't win in a head-on assault," she muttered. "We need a way to break through." Zarek leaned over the display, analyzing the station's structure. "The nebula," she said thoughtfully. "It's volatile. We could use it to our advantage." Crix's tentacles twitched. "If we detonate a few charges inside the nebula, it could create a chain reaction. The explosion would disable their defenses, at least for a short time." Blake grinned. "Now we're talking. Let's give them a light show." The plan was risky, but it was their best shot. Zarek gave the order, and the fleet sprang into action. Fighters deployed from the larger ships, weaving through the dense clouds of the nebula. The Iron Fang led the charge, its engines glowing as it darted toward the heart of the enemy station. Explosions lit up the nebula as the first charges detonated, sending shockwaves through the clouds. The station's defenses flickered and sputtered, momentarily blinded by the sudden burst of energy. "Now!" Zarek shouted. "All ships engage!" The fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. Lasers sliced through the void, plasma bolts erupted in brilliant colors, and missiles streaked toward their targets. The Zarath ships scrambled to respond, but the confusion and disruption worked in the Allies' favor. On the Iron Fang, Maya directed the targeting systems, calling out enemy positions with precision. "Hit that cruiser on the left! Target its engines!" Blake manned the weapons station, his hands flying over the controls as he unleashed volley after volley. "Come on, you cowards," he muttered. "Let's see what you've got." The battle raged, intense and chaotic. Ships twisted and turned in intricate dances of destruction, debris scattering across the battlefield. Explosions rippled through the enemy fleet, leaving twisted wreckage in their wake. Despite the odds, the Allies held their ground. The sight of humans and aliens fighting side by side ignited something deep within Maya's chest. Pride, hope, and determination all swirling together. For too long, humanity had been a forgotten legend. Now they were writing a new chapter, one that would echo across the galaxy. But the Zarath were relentless. Their command ship loomed ahead, bristling with weapons and shields. It was a behemoth, dwarfing every vessel in the Allied fleet. "We need to take out that command ship," Zarek said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "If we don't, they'll regroup." Maya nodded. "We'll get in close, If we can disable their shields, the rest of the fleet can finish the job. The Iron Fang shot toward the command ship, dodging enemy fire with precision. Crix's hands danced over the controls, piloting the ship with expert skill. "Hold on," he warned. "This is going to get bumpy." The Iron Fang maneuvered beneath the enemy ship, skimming its hull. Maya and Blake worked together to fire electromagnetic pulses, targeting the shield generators. "Almost there!" Maya shouted. "One more hit!" Blake grinned as he fired the final pulse. "Got it!" The command ship's shields flickered and failed, leaving it vulnerable. The Allied fleet seized the opportunity, unleashing a devastating barrage of firepower. The command ship shuddered under the onslaught, its hull cracking and buckling. Explosions rippled through its structure, and with a final deafening blast, the ship was torn apart, consumed by fire and debris. The Allied fleet let out a collective cheer as the remaining Zareth ships scattered, fleeing into the depths of space. The battle was won. Maya slumped back in her seat, breathless but triumphant. "We did it," she whispered. Zarek smiled, her antennae flicking with approval. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy knows humanity is awake, and now they know we are not to be underestimated." Blake leaned back, a satisfied grin on his face. "Let's see them try to stop us now." As the fleet regrouped, the Allies celebrated their hard-won victory. The battle was over, but the war was far from finished. Humanity had taken its first steps back onto the galactic stage, and they were just getting started. With the stars spread out before them, Maya knew one thing for certain. They had come too far to turn back now. The legend of humanity was no longer just a story whispered among the stars. It was a reality, burning bright and unstoppable. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Zareth Dominion's defeat was a powerful victory, but the battle had come at a high cost. Damaged ships floated like broken relics in the nebula, and the exhausted Allied forces worked tirelessly to recover survivors and repair what they could. Inside the Iron Fang, Zarek, Maya and Blake stood in the command room, their adrenaline slowly wearing off as the weight of their victory settled in. Maya gazed out at the wreckage, her heart heavy despite the triumph. "We won today," she said quietly, "but this is far from over. The Zarath won't let this go." Zarek nodded, her antennae twitching with tension. They will regroup and return stronger than before, but today we showed the galaxy that humanity is not a myth, and we will not be forgotten." Blake leaned against the console, wiping sweat from his brow. "And now we've got some serious leverage. We just took down a Zareth command ship. That's got to send a message." Zarek turned toward her crew, addressing them with quiet intensity. "This victory is more than a battle won. It's a signal. The galaxy will know that we stand united, humans, Litherians, and countless others. But it also means we've drawn attention. The Zareth aren't the only ones watching us now." Maya crossed her arms, her mind already racing through their next steps. "We need to secure this alliance. If we stand alone, we won't last. But together—" She glanced at Zarek, a spark of determination in her gaze. "Together, we can change everything." The command room quieted as the weight of her words settled in. They were standing at the precipice of a new era, one that could either unite the galaxy or plunge it further into chaos. Zarek turned to Crix, her ever-reliable second-in-command. "Send word to the Litherian ambassador. We need to strengthen our coalition and reach out to the other ships in the fleet. I want every willing ally at the table for what comes next." Crix saluted, his tentacles flicking with purpose. "It will be done, Commander." Maya exhaled, trying to shake off the exhaustion that clung to her. "And we'll need to rebuild. Our ships, our systems, everything. If the Zareth strike again, we can't afford to be caught off guard." Blake gave her a reassuring grin. "We've been knocked down before, but getting back up, That's what we're good at." Zarek allowed herself a rare smile. It seems the legends about humanity's resilience were not exaggerated. As the Allied fleet regrouped, the messages sent across the galaxy began to bear fruit. Ships arrived from distant systems, some carrying warriors eager to fight against the Zarath Dominion, others bringing engineers, diplomats and scholars who wanted to learn from and contribute to the Alliance. A summit was called aboard the largest ship in the fleet, a majestic vessel known as the Stellar Forge. Leaders from different species gathered in the ship's grand chamber, their diverse forms a testament to the variety of life the galaxy had produced. Maya, Blake, and Zarek stood at the heart of it all, representing humanity's rebirth. The Litherian ambassador addressed the crowd, his voice resonating with calm authority. "Today, we celebrate a victory, but we also acknowledge the challenge that lies ahead. The Zarath Dominion is wounded, but they are not defeated. If we are to survive, we must stand as one." A tall, crystalline being from a distant star system stepped forward. "Your humans have proven themselves in battle," the alien said, its voice echoing like wind through chimes. "Your fire has reignited hope across the galaxy. We are ready to fight by your side." A ripple of agreement spread through the gathered crowd. One by one, representatives pledged their support to the Alliance, their voices rising in a chorus of unity. Maya felt a swell of pride as she listened. For so long, humanity had been a story whispered in fear or wonder. Now they were building something real, something that could change the future. When it was her turn to speak, Maya stepped forward, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We were asleep for centuries, but now we are awake. We fought to survive, and we will fight to ensure that no one else has to face extinction. But this fight isn't just about weapons and battles. It's about building a future together, a future where every species, every voice has a place." Her words were met with applause, and as she looked across the sea of alien faces, she knew they had taken the first steps towards something extraordinary. In the days that followed, the Alliance began to take shape. Fleets were organized, trade routes established, and communication networks set up across star systems. Engineers worked tirelessly to rebuild the damaged ships, and scientists shared their knowledge, eager to unlock the secrets of the ancient technology found on Earth. Zarek observed it all with a quiet sense of satisfaction. The humans were proving themselves not just as warriors, but as leaders, capable of uniting even the most unlikely allies. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, but for the first time, she believed they had a real chance. Blake, ever the optimist, leaned back in his chair during one of their strategy meetings. "So what do we call this new alliance? Can't keep calling ourselves the Fleet." "Too boring." Maya chuckled, appreciating his humor amid the tension. "How about the Coalition? Something simple, but strong." Blake grinned. "I like it. The Coalition of Survivors." Zarek inclined her head. "It fits. We have all survived in our own ways, humans, Litherians, and everyone else here, and together we will do more than survive. We will thrive." The name stuck, and soon the Coalition was officially established. A beacon of hope in a galaxy still reeling from centuries of conflict and fear. Messages spread far and wide, inviting others to join their cause. Some came out of curiosity, others out of desperation, and still more because they saw in humanity a chance for something new. As the Coalition grew, so did the challenges. There were disagreements, cultural clashes, and moments of doubt. But every time the members faltered, they remembered the humans, how they had woken from stasis into an unfamiliar galaxy and fought for their place in it. Maya, Blake, and Zarek worked tirelessly to keep the Coalition together, forging alliances, mediating disputes, and preparing for the next confrontation with the Zarath. They knew the Dominion would not stay silent for long, and when they returned, it would be with everything they had. But this time, Humanity would not be alone. Late one night, Maya stood on the observation deck of the Iron Fang, watching the stars. The galaxy stretched out before her, vast and filled with possibilities. She knew there were countless dangers ahead, but there was also hope. Hope that they could build something better together. Zarek joined her, standing quietly at her side. For a moment, they watched the stars in comfortable silence. "We've come a long way," Maya murmured. "And we still have far to go," Zarek replied. "But we are ready." Maya smiled. "Yes, we are." As the Coalition's fleet grew stronger and the bonds between its members deepened, Maya knew they were writing a new story, one that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. Humanity's legend had become a reality, and now, with allies at their side, they were ready to face whatever the future held. The stars awaited them, and the next chapter of their journey was about to begin. The Coalition's formation had changed everything. What started as a desperate fight for survival had evolved into something much greater, a symbol of hope and unity in a fractured galaxy. Representatives from dozens of alien species, each with their own histories and challenges, now worked alongside humans and Zarek's crew to forge a shared future. The Iron Fang and its fleet became the Coalition's flagship, a mobile command center from which they coordinated their growing network of allies. Maya Torres spent her days immersed in strategy sessions, technology exchanges, and diplomatic negotiations. It was exhausting work, but it was also deeply rewarding. For the first time in centuries, humanity wasn't merely fighting to survive. They were building something lasting. The humans had become more than a myth. They were now key players in shaping the future of the galaxy. As she sat in the command center, reviewing the latest reports, Blake strolled in, a grin plastered across his face. "Guess what? We've got another ally signing on, one of the fringe colonies that used to work with the Zarath. Looks like they've had enough of the Dominion." Maya glanced up, her eyes bright with hope. "That's the third one this week. The tides are turning." Blake leaned casually against her desk. "You know, I always knew we'd pull it off. Just didn't think it'd happen this fast." "Don't get too comfortable," Maya warned with a playful smile. "The Zarath aren't done with us yet." Blake shrugged. "Let them come. We've got the Coalition now, and we've got a reputation. Humans don't back down." Zarek joined them, her expression calm but serious. "We've come far, but the real work is just beginning. The Zarath will not allow the Coalition to grow unchecked. We must prepare for their retaliation." Maya nodded. "We've been reactive long enough. It's time we take the initiative." Zarek tilted her head thoughtfully. "Agreed. If we're to ensure the Coalition's survival, we need to secure key territories, trade routes, supply lines, and strategic outposts. The more stability we create, the harder it will be for the Zarath to regain control." Blake crossed his arms. "Sounds like we're building an empire." "Not an empire," Maya corrected. "A sanctuary, a place where every species has a voice, where no one has to live in fear." The room fell quiet as they reflected on the enormity of their task. The Coalition was a beacon of hope, but it was also fragile. It needed to grow, and it needed to defend itself against those who would see it destroyed. Over the next few weeks, the Coalition's efforts intensified. The fleet expanded, with new ships joining from across the galaxy. Diplomats brokered peace agreements, while engineers built outposts and developed new technologies to enhance their defenses. The atmosphere on the Iron Fang buzzed with excitement and purpose. Maya found herself at the center of it all, navigating the complex web of alliances with Zarek by her side. Together, they forged connections and soothed tensions, ensuring that the Coalition remained united. The Litherians proved invaluable in these efforts, using their advanced technology to strengthen communications and security. But amid the victories, challenges arose. Some species were wary of the humans. their fears rooted in centuries of stories that painted humanity as either saviors or destroyers. Maya understood their hesitancy. After all, humanity's return had disrupted the status quo in ways no one could have predicted. During one tense negotiation with a wary alien delegation, Maya leaned forward, her voice calm but resolute. "We're not here to conquer or control. We know what it means to fight for survival, to lose everything and still keep going. That's what the coalition stands for, giving everyone a chance, no matter where they come from." Her words struck a chord. Slowly but surely the delegation agreed to join the coalition, adding their ships and resources to the growing alliance. Later, as Maya and Zarek walked through the bustling halls of the Iron Fang, Blake caught up with them, an amused grin on his face. "You know, I think you're actually starting to like this diplomacy stuff." Maya chuckled. "Don't push your luck." Blake gestured toward the expansive view of space visible through the observation windows. "Take a look. We built this, United States, and it's only just the beginning." Zarek stood silently beside them, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the stars. "We are creating something extraordinary," she said quietly, "but we must remain vigilant. The greater our success, the more dangerous our enemies will become." Maya nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars. "We'll be ready." Just as the words left her mouth, the communication console beeped, and Crix's voice came through the intercom. "Commander Zarek, Dr. Torres, we've received a distress signal. Multiple outposts under attack." Maya's stomach dropped. "The Zarath." Zarek's expression hardened. "They've made their move." The command center erupted into organized chaos as the coalition's fleet scrambled to respond to the distress signal. Ships powered up their engines and weapons systems hummed to life. Maya, Blake and Zarek took their positions, their minds racing through battle plans. The Iron Fang led the charge, jumping through hyperspace toward the besieged outposts. When they arrived, the scene was chaotic. Zarath warships bombarding the outposts, civilian ships scattering in all directions. The coalition fleet wasted no time, plunging into the fray with precision and fury. Lasers sliced through the darkness, and explosions rippled across the battlefield. The Iron Fang maneuvered with deadly grace, dodging enemy fire and returning it tenfold. Maya directed the fleet's movements, coordinating strikes with Zarek and the other commanders. Blake's voice crackled over the comms. "Watch your left. Zarath cruisers moving in fast." "We see them," Zarek replied, her voice steady. "Hold the line. Reinforcements are en route." The battle raged on, each moment more intense than the last. But the coalition fought with a determination that the Zarath had not anticipated. They were no longer a scattered resistance. They were a force to be reckoned with. Maya's heart raced as she watched the tide begin to turn. The Zarath ships faltered, their formations breaking under the relentless assault. One by one, their warships were disabled or forced to retreat. The coalition's victory was decisive. As the last Zarath ship fled into the depths of space, the outposts breathed a collective sigh of relief. Back aboard the Iron Fang, the mood was triumphant but tempered with caution. They had won another battle, but the war was far from over. Maya stood with Zarek and Blake in the command center, surveying the aftermath. "We sent them a message today," Maya said, "but they'll come back. We need to be ready." Zarek nodded. "And we will be. The coalition grows stronger with every battle. We are not just surviving, we are winning." Blake grinned. "Feels good, doesn't it?" Maya allowed herself a rare moment of satisfaction. "Yeah," she admitted, "it does." As the coalition's fleet regrouped, Maya knew they were standing on the edge of something remarkable. The battles ahead would be tough, and the challenges daunting. But they were no longer just a collection of survivors. They were a united force, ready to shape the future. Together, they had awakened not just humanity, but hope. And now they were ready to fight for a galaxy where every species had a place, a future worth fighting for. Victory had become a familiar but fleeting sensation for the Coalition. Each triumph was hard-fought, and every battle left scars. But with every encounter they grew stronger, more coordinated. The Zarath Dominion's once feared grip on the galaxy was beginning to loosen, and whispers of rebellion spread across distant star systems. The legend of humanity's return, once dismissed as a myth, was now undeniable. On board the Iron Fang, the command center hummed with purpose. Maya Torres stood beside Zarek, both watching as their allies coordinated the next phase of their mission. Plans were in motion to push deeper into Zarath territory, to dismantle the Dominion's control once and for all. It was a daunting task, but it was no longer just a dream. It was a mission within reach. Blake, ever the optimist, strolled into the room with his signature grin. "Well, folks, we've got good news. The outer colonies are rising up. We've officially become a thorn in the Zarath side." Maya smirked, folding her arms. "It's about time. They've been running the show for too long." Zarek's antennae twitched. "The tides are shifting in our favor, but the Zarath are wounded predators now. They'll be desperate and dangerous." Maya's expression turned serious. "Then we hit them fast and hard before they have a chance to regroup. The Coalition is ready." Crix's voice crackled over the intercom. "Commander, we've received reports of fleet movements near the Zarath core worlds. They're mobilizing everything they have for one final stand." Maya exchanged a glance with Zarek. "This is it," Maya whispered. "The endgame." Zarek gave a small nod. "All or nothing. If we win this, we break the Dominion's grip for good." Blake clapped his hands together. "Then let's not waste any more time." The Coalition's fleet gathered in orbit, a vast armada of ships representing dozens of species. Fighters, frigates and cruisers stood ready, their hulls gleaming under the starlight. Maya, Zarek and Blake stood on the bridge of the Iron Fang, surrounded by their crew, each of them preparing for the mission that would decide the fate of the galaxy. "This is the moment we've been building toward," Maya said, addressing the fleet through the comms. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for every world that suffered under the Zarath. Today we stand as one. Today we make history." A chorus of affirmations echoed through the comms as the fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace. Engines roared to life, and within moments the stars stretched into bright lines as the armada surged forward toward the Zarath core worlds. The final battle was unlike anything Maya had ever imagined. The Zarath's defenses were fierce, but the Coalition struck with precision and determination. Fighters swarmed through the battlefield, weaving between enemy ships as they unleashed barrages of laser fire. Explosions rippled across the void, scattering debris in all directions. The Iron Fang led the charge, its weapons blazing as it carved a path through the enemy fleet. Zarek directed the battle with calm precision, her orders cutting through the chaos with unwavering clarity. Maya and Blake worked side by side, coordinating strikes and rallying the Allied forces. "We're getting through!" Blake shouted over the comms as a Zarath cruiser erupted into flames. "Just a little further!" Maya's heart pounded as she watched the Coalition press forward. For a brief moment, it seemed as though victory was within their grasp. But then the Zarath flagship emerged from the shadows, a colossal vessel bristling with weapons, its presence radiating menace. Zarek's eyes narrowed. "That's their command ship. If we take it down, the rest of their fleet will crumble." Maya nodded. "Then let's finish this." The Iron Fang surged toward the Zarath flagship, dodging enemy fire with expert maneuvers. The Coalition fleet rallied behind it, pouring all their remaining strength into one final assault. Plasma bolts streaked across the void, and the sky burned with the fury of battle. The Zarath flagship unleashed a devastating barrage, but the Iron Fang pressed on, shield generators straining under the assault. Maya clenched her fists as the ship rocked from the impact. "We're not backing down," she muttered. "Not now." Blake grinned through gritted teeth. "Let's show them what humans are made of." With a coordinated effort, the Iron Fang and the Coalition fleet targeted the flagship's engines and weapon systems. One by one, the Zarath ship's defenses faltered, its armor cracking under the relentless assault. Explosions rippled through its hull as the Coalition delivered the final blow. The Zarath flagship erupted into a brilliant explosion, scattering debris across the battlefield. The remaining enemy ships, leaderless and demoralized, began to retreat. Cheers erupted throughout the Coalition fleet as the realization set in. They had won. The Dominion's grip on the galaxy was broken. The battle was over. Back aboard the Iron Fang, the crew celebrated their victory. Laughter and cheers filled the air as humans and aliens embraced, united by the bonds forged in the fires of battle. Maya, Blake and Zarek stood at the observation deck, watching as the remnants of the Zarath fleet fled into the depths of space. "We did it," Maya whispered, her voice filled with awe. Zarek's antennae flicked in agreement. "Yes, the Dominion is finished. The galaxy is free." Blake grinned, leaning against the railing. "And we just made history." The celebrations continued for hours, but Maya knew their work was far from over. Victory was just the beginning. The Coalition had won the battle, but now they had to build the peace that followed. The following days were a blur of meetings and celebrations as the Coalition solidified its presence across the galaxy. Formerly oppressed worlds welcomed the change, and new members eagerly joined the alliance. The galaxy, once divided, was slowly coming together. On the Iron Fang, Maya, Zarek and Blake reflected on the journey that had brought them here. They had awakened into a galaxy that had forgotten them, but now they were at the heart of something extraordinary. "We've come a long way," Maya said, her voice soft but filled with pride. Zarek nodded. "And there is still more to do. The galaxy will need guidance, stability, and we must ensure that the Coalition remains true to its ideals." Maya smiled. "We will, together." As the Iron Fang prepared to depart on its next mission, the crew gathered at the observation deck one last time. The stars stretched out before them, a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay ahead. Blake clapped his hands together. "So, where to next? We've got a whole galaxy to explore." Zarek tilted her head thoughtfully. "Wherever the stars take us." Maya gazed out at the horizon, her heart filled with hope. "The future is ours. Let's make it count." With engines roaring and shields glowing, the Iron Fang and its fleet launched into hyperspace, disappearing into the vast expanse of the cosmos. Humanity had awakened from the depths of myth and risen to the challenge, and now, with allies at their side, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The legend of humanity was no longer just a story whispered among the stars. It was a living, breathing reality, and the future they would build together would shine brighter than any star. As the Iron Fang soared through the void, Maya knew one thing for certain: their greatest adventure was just beginning.